An account I follow on Twitter is from a guy named Billboard Chris. I think he lives in Canada, but he goes around to a lot of the major cities in Canada and the US and stands outside with a billboard that says, "Children cannot consent to puberty blockers." And of course, this sign sparks conversations with people. And of course, it sparks a lot of unprovoked violence against him as well. He's posted numerous videos of being physically attacked and verbally berated, from the party of love and tolerance. Anyway, he was out on the street. And now I don't know if this was at an event or what exactly was happening before this. But just as a side note, Chloe Cole was within the vicinity of him somewhere. And if you don't know who Chloe Cole is, she's a young woman who was taken in by gender ideology as a young teenage girl. She took hormones. I'm not sure if she took puberty blockers, but she was influenced to the point that she did have her breasts removed at the age of 15. She is now a detransitioner, and she bravely goes out speaking publicly about her experience and using her voice to create awareness about the predatory practices of gender-affirming care, and in hopes of hopefully preventing other teens of going through the same thing. So in this video, you see that Chris and another Instagram influencer who does street interviews speaking with this guy about these issues. And it appears as though this person that they're talking to really thinks that he is standing for something. He really thinks that he is advocating for something honorable, who truly believes, at least in this particular moment, that he's truly convicted in his position, that he is adamantly arguing that these surgeries are not happening to anybody under the age of 18. And it would lead one to believe that this means he is fighting to protect minor children.
They're not doing surgeries on
all
kids
the studies
who
we
are
have
under
in it
18. You can't.
Yes,
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. There is no
What's
doctor
your
in
basis for saying that?
the law. There's no doctor in the United States who will give you who will do an irreversible surgery under the age of 18. That's just not true.
Chloe Cole is across the street. She had her breast cut off at 15. Do you want to come talk to her?
Mastectomy is that's
You want to come talk to her?
Was it for cancer or was
No,
it for
gender.
That's not true.
Come talk to her.
No.
I've got video from Kaiser Permanente in Oakland, California, where the doctor is admitting that the youngest patient they've cut the breasts off of is 12 years old. It's on video, my friend.
I'm willing to bet you right now that that's an edited video where the doctor was talking about how the person had cancer, breast cancer, and had to cut it off.
All right, so this is a video by Boston Children's Hospital.
United States. For top surgery, you are requested, but not required, to have been on gender-affirming hormones for at least a year. Many surgical centers require you to be 18 for top surgeries. We'll see people as young as age 15 if they've been affirmed in their gender for a long period of time. And
So as we can see, at first, he doesn't believe it's happening at all. So does that mean he would be against it if it were? Because it seems like his immediate reaction to even the idea of a minor making a permanent decision like this is too far for him, that would be his line. That might be his line in the sand. And of course, Billboard Chris points out, he points to this actual person, Chloe Cole, who is within mere feet of him and says, this is what actually happened to her at the age of 15. So now this person is faced with the reality that, hey, this is actually happening, but he doesn't want to talk to the person that it happened to. So that's the first immediate shift. He thinks he's convicted in his belief system, and then he's 100% proven wrong. And now he has a new belief system, and and he can't talk to people that don't align with that narrative, with that new belief system. And then the clip goes on.
Well, you said it's not happening, so it is, though, right? Okay, so we're going to acknowledge that?
Yeah, I was incorrect about that for sure.
What else do you think you might be incorrect about?
Well, I'm sure plenty of things.
You were very confident about that 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, and like any reasonable person, I can say.
So now do you believe that they cut off the breast of a 12-year-old at Kaiser Permanente? Or do I need to show you that video too?
Were they affirming to their chosen gender for a long time, the way they said they have to be in that video?
Well, they don't have to be. They request it.
That's it, as long as they have been.
No, in fact, you can get these letters of approval for surgery over the phone. There was a Pride Festival in Madison, Wisconsin a few weeks ago. Someone set up a tent with a sandwich board saying trans or non-binary, free letters of recommendation for surgery. You can just walk up to the tent, get your letter for surgery that you need. Do you think that's the level of safeguarding we need for a lot of these kids who are struggling with other mental health comorbidities?
If they want to transition, then yeah.
Okay, so a second ago it wasn't happening. Now you acknowledge that it is happening and it's totally fine if there's no safeguards.
So at least he admits he's wrong. And then he stands his ground in saying that he agrees with the safeguards of having someone, that a teenager has to have lived as the opposite gender for a long period of time, whatever that means, before being given this letter of approval to proceed with other treatments. And then, Chris points out, well, it's really not difficult to get this letter. And so this guy, in the same conversation, he sets a new belief system, and then he's proven wrong again. Again, that the letters are easy to get, that the standard of living to be the opposite gender doesn't have to be a certain length of time, and that the letter is a suggestion, not a requirement. So he's proven wrong again. And then now he has to admit that children under the age of 18 can get permanent surgeries to remove healthy body parts, that they don't need any kind of significant medical approval to go through with it, and he's now okay with the fact that there's no safeguards at all. So he started out in this one spot saying he's fine if there's an age limit in place. Then he had to switch and say that he'd be fine as long as there were the safeguards such as length of time lived as the opposite gender, or before really going through with it. And then, of course, he tried to throw the cancer thing in there as another safeguard that, of course they should be allowed to if they're medically ill and it's medically necessary, as a safeguard. And then, at the end of the day, his entire belief system fell apart. He tried to pretend that he had conviction for something, that he stood for something. And when faced with the decision to actually stand for that thing, he made the choice not to. He realized he has no principles, he has no limits or boundaries at all, and that he could let go of it all very easily and felt totally comfortable at the end of the day, not holding on to anything at all. And abortion activists do this too. Every single time I have a conversation with somebody